As the world closely monitors the ongoing conflict in the Middle East, seismic stations in neighboring Armenia have detected unusual underground signals. Scientists promptly examined these data, noting that they eerily resembled seismic patterns from Iran's early nuclear tests. Specifically, the seismic signatures match those recorded during Pakistan's first underground nuclear detonation in Odna Tisicha Devitsat Devanostovosum, when a 20-kiloton device exploded in the Karen Desert, a coincidence unlikely to be accidental. Over the past 6 months, Iran's nuclear facilities have experienced several strange seismic events. On June 15th, a tremor of magnitude Nelsik shook the Fordow uranium enrichment plant deep beneath the earth. Just 5 days later, on June 20th, two earthquakes, each with a magnitude around 5.1, struck the same desert region, an area suspected to host underground testing sites. Official reports indicate that Iran is enriching uranium up to 60%, close to weapons-grade 90%, raising concerns among the international community. Today, we will explore what these subterranean signals may truly signify. Why are seismologists worldwide scrutinizing every underground quake in Iran? Could these recent seismic events be linked to nuclear testing activities? Imagine you are a geologist observing seismic data when suddenly something appears abnormal. Earthquakes of magnitude 4.5 in Iran's desert are common in its seismically active terrain, but the graphs tell a different story. Instead of the gradual buildup typical of natural quakes, the seismic activity shows a sudden spike, then vanishes just as quickly. No foreshocks, no aftershocks, only a sharp peak. This pattern was officially recorded by Armenian seismologists in October 2004, when sensors detected strange underground disturbances in Semnan province. The seismic graphs bore an uncanny resemblance to those from earlier nuclear detonations in Pakistan, from in 2098. Ordinary earthquakes usually unfold differently, a series of tremors starting with smaller shocks, gradually reaching a peak, then tapering off with aftershocks that can last weeks or even months. They resemble stones thrown into water, creating expanding ripples that diminish over time. In contrast, what happened in Semnan resembled an underwater explosion, an instant burst of energy followed by silence. For geophysicists, such a pattern is a red flag, particularly for a country continually perceived as trying to develop nuclear weapons. Iran lies along one of the world's most seismically active zones, where the Arabian and Eurasian tectonic plates collide. Earthquakes are routine there. Over the past 30 years, the country has endured numerous destructive tremors, from the catastrophic Bam quake in 2003, which claimed nearly 26,000 lives, to more recent events in Kermanshah. Yet, what makes the recent signals especially suspicious is their occurrence near nuclear sites. On June 15th of that same year, yet another suspicious event took place. Another underground disturbance near Iran's nuclear infrastructure. These occurrences include abrupt seismic spikes, unlike those expected from natural tectonic activity, raising fears that they may be related to clandestine nuclear tests. A recent earthquake measuring 2.5 on the Richter scale struck near the underground nuclear facility in Fordow, located within the provinces of Yas and Qum. This site, buried 80 to 90 meters beneath solid rock formations, serves as a central component of Iran's nuclear program, where uranium enrichment occurs actively and persistently. What makes this situation particularly concerning is the increased seismic activity reported in the Fordow region, which has fueled fears among experts about potential damage to critical infrastructure and the containment of radioactive materials. A breach at the storage sites or centrifuges could lead to widespread contamination, risking a catastrophe over vast territories. The area is no stranger to sabotage. Back in 2013, a mysterious explosion occurred there, the exact cause of which remains unresolved. Some specialists argue that the recent tremors are simply natural seismic fluctuations, intensified by technological factors, while others see strange anomalies in the seismograms, suggesting something more sinister. A third group theorizes that uranium operations might be using this seismically active zone as a covert cover for clandestine nuclear tests. Amid geopolitical tensions on the Middle Eastern scene, much attention is now given to Russia's push for technological independence, emphasizing the importance of developing domestic manufacturing capabilities. In this turbulent global climate, investing in advanced education becomes crucial, especially for young people making decisions about their future careers. Their choices today will shape tomorrow's opportunities. In Russia, there is a unique program at Alabago Polytech that offers students practical, real-world experience from the very first year. Through a dual-phase initiative, students combine work and study, earning an official salary of 50,000 rubles while gaining hands-on skills. Admission requires only participation in a business simulation. No entrance exam results needed. And top performers can earn up to 120,000 rubles. The schedule is structured so that students work 2 days a week, attend classes on the latest equipment for another 2 days, and participate in leadership tournaments or college programs on the remaining day. The Alabogo Special Economic Zone hosts 38 major manufacturing plants, including automakers and electronics producers, all seeking qualified specialists with real-world experience. This program prepares graduates not just academically but practically, providing 3 or more years of work experience and guaranteed employment afterward. Living arrangements, transportation, sports competitions, and even esports tournaments designed to nurture leadership qualities are all included. Those interested should submit their applications promptly, with details available in the link below. For young people and their families choosing a future path, this initiative offers a chance to become not just specialists, but innovative entrepreneurs and technological pioneers of tomorrow. To truly grasp the gravity of experts' suspicions, one must understand how seismographs function and what exactly they record. During an earthquake, the Earth's crust releases 2 main types of seismic waves: primary P waves and secondary S waves. P waves travel faster, arriving at seismic stations first, but typically cause less destruction. S waves follow, moving more slowly, yet they are responsible for most of the damage in an earthquake. Under normal tectonic activity, S waves tend to have noticeably higher amplitudes than P waves, akin to echoes in mountains. A clear initial sound followed by a lingering, powerful reverberation. However, the pattern shifts dramatically in the case of underground nuclear explosions. In such events, P waves often become dominant, while S waves are either very weak or entirely absent. This phenomenon arises because explosions release energy instantaneously in all directions, causing a different seismic signature than a tectonic quake. Another crucial parameter is the so-called focal mechanism, represented by a specialized diagram illustrating how fault blocks moved during the seismic event. Earthquakes display a distinct pattern with alternating white and blue zones, indicating the direction of fault slip. Conversely, explosions produce a nearly uniform blue circle, signifying a symmetrical expansion of material outward in every direction. This focal mechanism was precisely recorded during North Korea's underground nuclear test on September 3, 2017, when a device with an estimated yield of around 250 kilotons was detonated at a depth of several kilometers. Seismic stations worldwide immediately identified the event as artificial due to its unique signatures. Yet, not all suspicious seismic activities are so clear-cut. For example, the earthquake that occurred on June 20th, 2025, with a magnitude of about 5.1, showed a focal mechanism typical of a normal fault, not an explosion. The S wave was stronger than the P wave. The quake's depth was 10 kilometers, and all signs pointed to a natural tectonic origin. However, the event of October 17th, 2024, raised more questions. Modern technology enables the masking of nuclear tests, making them indistinguishable from natural earthquakes if conducted in the right location and time, such as during active seismic periods in regions prone to tectonic activity. When a weapon is detonated deep underground, especially with modest yield, it can be challenging to differentiate from a routine earthquake. That's why international monitoring systems employ a comprehensive network of detection methods. Current verification frameworks for nuclear testing resemble a vast web. Any large underground explosion leaves detectable traces, much like a giant net that cannot easily be evaded. Nonetheless, this system is less effective against smaller devices, especially if they are deeply buried underground, which might go unnoticed or be attributed to natural seismicity. For a country aiming to develop its first nuclear weapon, a device of modest yield, mere kilotons, is technically easier to conceal than a megaton-sized bomb. The organization overseeing negotiations aimed at a comprehensive ban on nuclear tests analyzed data from its 25 monitoring stations and officially confirmed that the seismic events in Iran were consistent with normal earthquakes. However, skeptics raised doubts about certain suspicious aspects. For instance, the majority of these tremors occurred at a depth of precisely 10 kilometers, a number commonly used by seismologists when the exact depth cannot be determined with certainty. Additionally, some of these seismic incidents took place in sparsely populated areas where independent observations are scarce or non-existent. Moreover, the timing between these alarms seemed too conveniently aligned with periods of heightened tension concerning Iran's nuclear activities. Particularly intriguing is the case of the underground facility at Fordow. Constructed in secrecy and only revealing itself to international inspectors in 2009, this complex was built within mountain tunnels initially designed to withstand airstrikes. While intended as a hardened defense against aerial assaults, experts now suspect that its subterranean location might serve additional purposes, potentially concealing activities beyond mere protection. Iran's nuclear program began in the 1950s when the country received its first research reactor from the United States as part of the Atoms for Peace initiative. Ironically, it was Western assistance that laid the foundation for the advanced nuclear capabilities Iran confronts today. By 1967, Tehran University had acquired a research reactor with a power output of 5 megawatts, fueled by over 5 kilograms of highly enriched uranium and 112 grams of polonium for experimental use. Following the Islamic Revolution of 1979, Iran's nuclear activities were halted, but they resumed during the 80s with Russian support, as Moscow helped complete the Bushehr nuclear power plant. Over time, Iran developed its own uranium enrichment technology, which sparked increasing concern. Enrichment involves raising the concentration of uranium-235, a fissile isotope critical both for civilian nuclear power and, when highly concentrated, for nuclear weaponry. The enrichment process is carried out using gas centrifuges, machines spinning at tens of thousands of revolutions per minute to increase uranium-235 content. Currently, Iran operates several key facilities where this technology is employed. The main site, called Natanz, has a vast array of centrifuges and has repeatedly been targeted by sabotage efforts. In 2010, the Stuxnet virus compromised nearly 1,000 centrifuges at Natanz, causing them to spin inefficiently and self-destruct. In 2021, an explosion occurred at the site, which Iranian authorities labeled a terrorist act. Fordow is an even more fortified installation, built deep underground in the mountains of the province of Qom. Originally designed as a secret reserve for uranium enrichment, intended to substitute if Natanz was compromised, its construction was kept hidden until 2009, when Western intelligence uncovered undeniable evidence of its existence. The facility's subterranean location aims to provide maximum protection from airstrikes and sabotage, making it a critical component in Iran's nuclear infrastructure. The Iraq reactor, designed for plutonium production, offers an alternative route to nuclear weapons. While producing plutonium is more technically complex than enriching uranium, it results in more compact and powerful warheads. Notably, plutonium-based bombs have been detonated in Nagasaki and at testing sites in Nevada. Iran insists its reactor is solely used for medical isotope production, yet experts remain skeptical of these claims. Initially, Iran exceeded limits on low-enriched uranium stockpiles and later began enriching uranium up to 20%, moving closer to the 60% level necessary for weaponization. Such levels have no peaceful application, raising alarm among observers. The situation worsens as Iran restricts inspectors' access to its nuclear facilities, disabling surveillance cameras and denying entry to certain zones, which minimizes cooperation with international agencies. This creates a vacuum of reliable information, fueling rumors and speculation. In this uncertain environment, every earthquake or seismic signal in Iran is scrutinized for signs of nuclear activity. While this heightened vigilance may be paranoid, given the stakes involved, it can also be justified. Analyzing available data yields conflicting conclusions. On one hand, seismic analysis does not support the presence of underground nuclear tests, with parameters indicating natural origins. Most tremors are consistent with typical regional activity, and investigations by the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty Organization have yet to find evidence of artificial explosions. On the other hand, certain coincidences raise suspicion. Earthquakes often occur in regions hosting or potentially concealing nuclear sites, and their timing sometimes correlates with periods of increased international tension. Some wave characteristics also differ from regional norms, suggesting the possibility of clandestine nuclear tests. Perhaps the truth lies somewhere in between. Iran might conduct incomplete or low-yield detonations, testing individual nuclear components or systems without full-scale explosions. Such experiments do not require substantial nuclear material but serve to refine weaponization techniques. Detecting these subtle tests remains exceedingly difficult, especially in seismically active areas. Another plausible scenario is that Iran is developing underground nuclear test sites, as reports from the American Foundation for the Defense of Democracies suggested as early as 2019. Building such facilities demands large-scale excavation, which naturally induces seismic activity, although this activity is purely industrial rather than nuclear in origin. A third possibility is that Iran exploits natural seismic events to mask its activities, deliberately conducting experiments during tremors, relying on background noise to obscure any artificial signals. Ultimately, the truth likely involves a combination of these factors. Iran may be engaging in partial testing, leveraging natural seismicity to conceal its efforts, with some activities designed to gather technical data without crossing the threshold of full-scale explosions. The intricate interplay of technological, seismic, and geopolitical elements makes it challenging to definitively interpret the seismic signals emanating from the region. In an environment tinged with suspicion and mistrust, even the most innocent occurrences can take on a sinister significance. What might simply be a routine earthquake in Iran could very well be just that, an ordinary tectonic event, with all other interpretations rooted in overactive imaginations. Yet there remains a possibility that we are witnessing the initial signs of a deeper shift, not only within the Earth's crust but also in the global order itself. If this resonated with you, consider engaging with this narrative and explore more insightful analyses in our dedicated Telegram channel.